So guys, exactly 6 months and 2 days before the Nigerian civil war erupted, Nigeria sat at a table in Ghana with the eastern region. Promises were made, hopes were high, but what came next was a deep betrayal. It burned the bridge between Nigeria and the Igbo nation, perhaps forever. So guys, let's go on. The meeting you're seeing right now took place in Aburi in Ghana. Not in Lagos, not in Enugu, but in Ghana. This is the reason so. Because the Eastern region's leader, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, did not trust that his safety could be guaranteed anywhere inside Nigeria. And so, under the watchful eye of Ghana's military head of state, General Joseph Ankara, the two sides came together for what would be called Aburi Accord. In the Middle East, the Nigerian's federal military government, led by Yakubu Gowon, flanked by regional governors, top military brass and civil servants, and the other is Ojukwu, carrying the hopes of millions of eastern Nigerians who had already faced massacres, displacements, and targeted killings in the north. And in the other side is General Ankara, tasked with keeping the peace and guiding the talks toward a lasting world solution. The Aburi Accord was clear. No military solution to the crisis, violence was off the table. Equal power in the Supreme Military Council, no single region could dictate to another. Regional autonomy, decisions affecting the regions had to be approved by the governors. Fair appointment from the police to the civil service, no position would be filled without what consents. And most importantly, a return to true federalism with the central government existing to serve the regions and not to dominate them. But back in Lagos, something began to shift. Civil servants warned Gowon that the agreement gave too much to the east. Influential figures whispered that Ojukwu had outsmarted the federal delegation. Foreign powers, especially Britain, worrying that regional autonomy could threaten their access to Nigerians' oil. I don't know why Britain really cared about Nigerians' oil, even to today. That's why many people have been asking, why is it that Britain doesn't want to release Nnamdi Kanu? People are saying that is it because of the oil that they're benefiting from Nigeria? Or maybe they feel that if they interfere on Nnamdi Kanu's case, that Nigeria won't sell oil to them again. So, this thing is something based back there. You can see that Britain has always worried. They're feeling that if anything happened, they'll start saying, they're worried that the regional autonomy could threaten their access to Nigerians' oil. And it's still what is going on till to date. And then the federal side began to interpret the accord. Gowon's government issued Decree number 8, claiming it was based on Aburi, but the fine print told another story. Emergency powers were expanded, central control was tightened, and the spirit of regional equality was gone. Ojukwu rejected the decree outright, and when Gowon created 12 new states in May 1967, splitting the eastern region and stripping it of control over oil-rich areas, trust was completely shattered. In just 6 months, the dream of peace forged in Aburi had died. On May 30th, 1967, Ojukwu declared the independence of the Republic of Biafra, and on July 6th, Nigeria invaded. The civil war had begun, claiming over 3 million lives, many of them were children, in what would become one of the worst humanitarian disasters of the 20th century. Even today, the Aburi Accord remains a symbol of promises broken, of a chance for unity squandered. For the Igbo, it is proof that Nigeria's betrayal is not new, it is continuous. Even to today, the betrayal is still going on. For others, it is a painful lesson in how mistrust and political games can destroy a nation's future. 6 months and 2 days before the war, peace was possible, but betrayal won, and the bridge between Nigeria and Igbo has never been rebuilt to today. It has never been rebuilt. That's why you see there's so much hatred now in Nigeria. So much hatred. So guys, let's go on now. You guys remember the massacres of 1966? Before Aburi, tens of thousands of eastern Nigerians, mostly Igbo, had been slaughtered in northern Nigeria following 2 coups. These massacres created a deep atmosphere of fear and distrust. Mass exodus, over 1 million Easterners fled back to the east, leaving jobs, homes, and businesses behind. Pressure from Ghana's leader General Ankara as of then, personally invited both sides, warning that without dialogue, war was inevitable. Now, I'm telling you guys Ojukwu's position here. He wasn't just a regional governor, he was also the commander of the Eastern Region's army, meaning he spoke from a position of both political and military strength. Now, Gowon's challenge as head of state for only 5 months, Gowon faced pressure from northern political elites, western leaders and foreign governments. Sometimes, everything that happened back then, I think is what is still playing in Nigeria today, because people have been asking, why is it that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has refused to release Nnamdi Kanu? People have been saying that it's because of pressure that is coming from the northern side, this northern political elites. It is the pressure coming from them that they are telling Tinubu not to release Nnamdi Kanu. And everything that happened in the 1960s is what is still happening currently in Nigeria today. Now, Gowon's challenge then is, as head of state for only 5 months, Gowon faced pressure from northern political elites, western leaders and foreign governments. And this is Ankara Zero. His mission was to mediate as a neutral party, but behind the scene, Ghana was also under Western diplomatic pressure to keep Nigeria united. Now, what was agreed? This was what was agreed. They agreed for military balance. Regional commanders would answer to their governors, not just the central command, meant to prevent another program without local protection. SMC power structure, the Supreme Military Council decisions would require unanimous approval, ensuring no single region could be overruled. Restoration of trust, both sides pledged to halt inflammatory propaganda and media attacks against each other. Refuge support, the agreement to rehabilitate displaced Easterners, return confiscated property and allow safe resettlement. Now, this is the turning point. British influence. Britain still heavily invested in Nigeria's oil industry, feared a looser confederal structure would weaken central control over oil revenue. Internal opposition, powerful northern bureaucratic and military officers believed Aburi gave too much to the east. Misinformation campaign, leaks to the press began framing Ojukwu as pushing for outright secession even before Biafra was declared. Now, lack of follow-up, no official joint communique was immediately released, allowing each side to interpret the terms differently. Decree number 8 controversy. On paper, it looked like Aburi, but new clauses expanded the central government's emergency power, allowing military intervention in regions without unanimous consent. State creation as a weapon, by craving the eastern region into 3 states. The federal government isolated the Igbo heartland from minority ethnic groups in oil-rich areas like Rivers and Cross River. Final straw, Ojukwu accused Gowon of bad faith and declared that the federal government had murdered the spirit of Aburi. Now, war approaches. Economic measures. Before the war officially began, Nigeria imposed an economic blockade on the eastern region, cutting off food, medicine and trade. Mobilization. Both sides began preparing military while still trading accusations of who broke the peace first. Now, international watch. The world watched closely, but Cold War politics meant no major power moved to enforce the accord. This is actually the legacy. The ongoing disputes, the Aburi betrayal is still cited by many Igbo leaders as proof that Nigeria's leadership cannot be trusted to honor agreement. Federalism debates, calls for restructuring Nigeria often point back to Aburi as the ideal starting point for equitable governance. Symbol of broken promises. In Igbo political discourse, remember Aburi is shorthand for "don't be fooled twice." Historical disputes. Gowon later claimed the accord was misinterpreted by the eastern region, while Ojukwu insisted the federal side deliberately sabotaged it. So guys, also please don't forget that we normally use this platform to agitate for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So please do type in the comment section free Nnamdi Kanu. So guys, let's go on. The second coup of 1966. The first coup in January 1966 was carried out by mostly Igbo officers, but the second coup in July was a counter coup by northern officers, leading to the mass killings of Easterners. Trust was shattered. After the massacres, the eastern region practically stopped attending federal meetings, accusing the central government of failing to protect their people. Ankara, aware of West Africa's fragile peace, pushed for Aburi because Ghana feared a Nigeria collapse would destabilize the entire region. Now, after all these things they told us that happened in 1966, the IBB, that's Ibrahim Babangida, later came out and told us that 1966 was not it was not an Igbo coup, because people were believing that it was Igbo people that started the coup in 1966, which was of January then, the first coup in January 1960. They said that it was carried out by mostly Igbo officers, but Ibrahim Babangida came out and confessed to us and said it was not Igbos, that it was they said it was a military coup. It was a military coup. That's what they told us, and that's when people had to start understanding that, oh, what happened then wasn't even it wasn't even an Igbo coup. It was a military coup. This is how they try, to actually talk bad about the Igbos. They actually do everything to talk bad about the Igbos, and that's what Nnamdi Kanu is always saying, that you see all these things happening now. We need to start rewriting it. We need to rewrite history. If it's possible, let's rewrite our history so that people will know that what happened in 1966 was not what an Igbo coup, rather it was a military coup. We need to rewrite our history. We need to rewrite our constitution. We need to change the 1999 constitution. All these things needs to be done. To be honest, all these things need to be done, or else people will still be thinking that what happened in 1966 was an Igbo coup. Well, it was not an Igbo coup. And that's why you see some people today, they'll tell you, oh, no, it was the Igbos that started the war. Igbos wanted to, kill all the whole northern leaders then. That's what they will be telling you. But no. It was never what? An Igbo coup at all. Now, I'll be telling you guys Ojukwu's reputation. Ojukwu is educated at Oxford and had a career soldier. And he's what? A career soldier, I mean. Ojukwu had both intellectual and strategic clout, respected even by some of his enemies. Now, Gowon was a northern Christian from a minority ethnic group. He had to please powerful Hausa Fulani political figures who controlled the army's upper rank. I feel that everything that happened in the 1960 is what is actually taking place in Nigeria today. Anyway guys, that is all we have for today. Let me know your thoughts below, and also if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like and share, turn on the notification button to get all the latest news in this channel. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again in my next video.